Hello and welcome. Today I'll be casting some Dota 2 Battle Cup coverage here. This is the semifinals. I missed the first match. Looks like we've got Team Something versus Team N.K mitick, which is, frankly, some of the worst team names I've ever heard in my life. Here we have N.K mitick banning Viper and Lion. Dire Side, of course, banning Anti-Mage and Disruptor. What's interesting here is really neither of these teams have any fucking clue how to play Dota. So probably picks and bans are going to make, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say about 3 for how much sense these picks and bans are going to make. They're probably just going to be banning heroes they don't like to play against rather than actually good heroes. But you know how it goes.
5 seconds remaining.
Of course, on Team Something are two of my close personal friends, Liam and Jake, and then 3 random guys who decided to play with instead of me, because these guys are probably better than me, but I guess I'll be the judge of that. As the unbiased man that I am perfect at this sort of judgment. Now, let's see, the final ban for the Radiant side is going to be Axe. And the final ban for the Dire side is Phantom Lancer. Now, first pick coming out here for N.K mitick, I would assume that we'll probably see a position 4 or position 5 picked here. Of course, I've never seen any of most of these players play.
10 seconds remaining. Dire team pick.
I have no idea who they like to play and whatnot, but the Jakiro comes out. That's fairly immediately responded to with Dazzle, which is probably to be expected. I would expect maybe Dazzle position 5, so maybe the position 4, or maybe they want to try and get in here with a more core pick. Legion Commander pairs very well with Dazzle. Can't die in the duel. I'm not sure if they want to be so brazen as to pick the Legion Commander right here, but we shall see. And as we see here, the next pick was indeed the Spirit Breaker, and now we see N.K mitick waiting, trying to see what their response to this Dazzle Spirit Breaker pick will be. They're going to chew through a fair amount of their reserve time here. It seems they really are deliberating what this next pick is going to be. I wonder if they're going to go for a power play, something, perhaps unexpected. Here we see the Ogre Magi. Not too unexpected, I think, now that they have their supports out of the way. It's interesting to me still that they took so much reserve time on those picks, but I suppose they wanted to be very safe. I'd suggest perhaps the Spear Breaker was a bit more of an aggressive pick by Team Something, but we'll see. Back to the bans.
Dire team ban.
Ban is Medusa. Interesting ban. I just realized I've been streaming most of this time as opposed to recording, so that's awkward.
The battle begins.
But oh well. Anyways, we see the bounties here were split, indeed, 2 for 2, so no immediate advantage. And we see Jake in this top lane. Of course, we see the Shadow Fiend of Liam in mid here. Interesting first wards put out. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know much about Pro Dota. And we'll see how it goes. The early game here looks like Zeus is taking a bit of a lead in mid. But he is, of course, known to do such a thing. As the Jakiro and the Spearbreaker go at it in bottom lane here. With the Dazzle actually taking the farm in bottom lane, so that's interesting. Very much so. Well, these heroes are really content to just fight it out, it would seem. CK off with a nice start in this top lane here. But just as well Sven farming up that bottom lane. The Dazzle obviously can't really contest the Sven farming that well. Overall, Jakiro forced back to his tower briefly, but actually decides to go right back in. While in top lane, the Pugna ward is down as they do some harassment. And here we see James making that comeback in mid, and we have a little bit of action down here. I don't expect much to come of it, but like I mentioned, he's a very, very skilled player, and he knows his stuff. So we see him. I'd be surprised if he lost mid by a great margin here. Once he gets these souls farmed up, obviously he should be in quite contention. Overall, it looks like the Radiant side, NK mitick, off to a bit of an advantage in terms of the last hit deny, the CS, which is interesting. See, first blood looks like it might come out here as Sven desperately tries to back off. It looks like it will be able to get away. The damage over time will not be enough to burn, so escaping just barely there.
I think not.
And actually, we see Bandit here somewhat struggling, getting low here. Only one last hit behind him, one deny ahead actually. So that lane is fairly even. Dazzle, interestingly, I think they're playing core Dazzle, which, frankly put, bamboozles the hell out of me. But we'll see. Maybe I'm talking out of my ass, and this is like the greatest thing ever discovered in modern Dota 2. The Pugna and the Shadow Fiend here have very, very low CS thus far, which is interesting, as some light harassment comes out to this Tide Hunter. Mid, we just see Zeus all of a sudden leaping ahead in the CS, 16-5, but the most farmed hero in the game still resides on Team Something, who are 19-6. He is 19-6. Oh, and we have a Spearbreaker charge. Looks like SB is charging mid, maybe wanting to go on the Zeus, or maybe charging all the way to top. We'll see. It looks like indeed cancels the charge closer to mid, as Dazzle backs off and decides, yeah, let him free farm in bottom lane a little bit. Who cares? But the same thing has actually happened in top here, so that's quite interesting. I suppose it's because we saw this rotation of who was it? Ogre Magi come down to this bottom lane,
middle tower is under attack.
And they're just maybe gonna give him top, or tell Tidehunter to try and hold him back as long as he can. And James here actually getting, frankly, bullied out of this lane. Bandit is, but here we see them going on Zeus with the charge. And the first Shadow Raise misses. Don't cut away from the action game. But it looks like, in general, no harm, no foul. Still no first blood as we pass the 5-minute mark of this game. James on the Shadow Fiend just trying to farm up some souls. Here we see what is potentially first blood, but the CK is there to defend the Pugna. So simply some damage to be exchanged and nothing more, it would seem. The ward goes down. This Tidehunter should be careful. He's in a little bit of trouble here. He might go down, but the stick charges should be enough to save him. They might dive for this. They want this first blood. And indeed, Jake on the Pugna draws the first blood. Meanwhile, we have a fight going down here in the bottom. Sven decides not to continue to chase the Spear Breaker, so he will survive, and they will maintain this advantage here. Current net worth, it would seem, is favoring the CK, but the next two players are that Zeus and that Sven. So overall, tough to say which team is really in the lead at this point. As we see Sven going on Dazzle, the Spearbreaker charge comes in to save and should be able to walk it off without without any incredible loss here. So the early goal difference is favoring Team Something, but just barely, barely remarkable. And the XP is actually favoring them as well, on a similar rate. And we see the Radiant, however, is looking slightly more likely to win this game at the moment right now, which is interesting as we see a small skirmish happen in top lane as well.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
If we look back at the last hit deny, the CK really has pulled ahead. The Zeus is only a few ahead of the Shadow Fiend, so a win, but a small one at that. Meanwhile, the Pugna and the Spearbreaker, 1-1 for the Pugna, 0-0 for the Spearbreaker. That is not great, as we see the Spearbreaker simply try to back off of this Ogre Magi here. The Sven threatening the stun run forward, but both sides deciding against it overall. As we see Bandit's build here, looks like Power Treads first into that invisible sword, Shadow Blade. You see Sven standing here to fight. He is quite powerful, and as the gank comes in, however, this from out of nowhere, there's three heroes here, and the Spearbreaker will go down. Dazzle has to back out, and Jakiro gets that kill, which is perhaps a bit unfortunate. This solo lane from this Tidehunter is working out just fine. They have not very much been able to push the tower. CK has been able to farm quite a bit. However, I'm not sure if the trade for extra farm on the CK versus 3 players in the bot lane harassing that bot lane will be worth it. Jakiro picks up an invis, and it looks like perhaps wants to start another fight somewhere. As we see this tower pressure come in. TB should, the Tidehunter should be careful here. And it looks like we have another kill coming out. Indeed we do for the Pugna. So a small lead taken as Spearbreaker should be careful here because he could get melted at any moment here. It looks like there it goes. He should be able to get out fine here, especially as he has... Well, he has Charge of Darkness available, but deciding against the charge to just try, and he's dead. Alrighty. So it's a big kill for the Zeus at this point. CK still holding the greatest net worth, but just barely. Dazzle should be careful here, but ding level 6, that's nice. This Spearbreaker really on quite a small net worth compared to even the supports of the opposing team. As we see Dazzle shrining and Spearbreaker charging to get back into the action. No towers taken just yet. And we see Jake on that Pugna leading the kill board right now. Zeus averaging the highest XP per minute. With the Zeus and the Shadow Fiend being tied at 8. And here we see them going on this Sven. He pops magic wand charges. Jakiro comes in to try and defend. Will these Sven go down? Indeed, the Sven does go down. Can the Spearbreaker get out? The Pugna comes in to save, body blocking teammates a little bit there, but no harm, no foul. We see a skirmish happening in top lane. And indeed, the Shadow Fiend had migrated to bottom lane looking for a fight. I think really this game will likely be determined. The interesting thing is that the Sven is ahead of the... How do you say it? The opposing core in the bottom lane, which is Dazzle, I think, at this point. I don't really know. Actually, hold that thought for a second. Here as we see Sven going on the Spearbreaker. And everybody trying to just back off here. There's, frankly, a mess of creep down here. They got the ward up. Looks like the Radiant side want to push this. Pugna overstays his welcome, perhaps, here, but the fight commences. Shadow Fiend still has the Requiem of... He doesn't have Requiem of Souls. He did not level it up. We see one kill come out on the Sven by the Pugna. And indeed another one. Will the Spearbreaker go down? Oh, he will. He will just barely go down. So overall, quite a good fight for Team Something here as they take down the Sven, the Ogre, and the Jakiro, losing only their Spear Breaker. And they chase as this top lane just keeps going. Anyways, the CK is above the Tidehunter, but the Sven is above whoever is supposed to be the carry in the bottom lane. I couldn't tell you at this point. Overall, quite good there as we see Team Something take a bit of a gold and XP lead, no doubt, and the win favor surprisingly still in the Radiance advantage, 53 to 47%. Interesting. So I believe this game will largely be determined by probably this Zeus Shadow Fiend battle, as they're fairly equally matched. I think whichever one of them can find the lead or the advantage quickly here will probably help their team start to run away with it. And we have a charge up coming out top here, but it would seem that this Tidehunter wants to back off. We see this Pugna Shadow Fiend combo trying to pressure this tower, clearing waves quickly, and we are going to see them go on the Tidehunter here. As the CK walks in, the Spear Breaker charge comes through. Where's that CK stun? Perhaps waiting after these stuns come out. Dazzle here as well, and they easily find that Tidehunter kill. Shadow Fiend has to be careful here. He's going to get gone on by these Ogre Magi and Akiro. Will they have the damage to kill him? It looks like they will, especially with that Zeus ult. Down he goes. Charges, looks like they want to re-aggress this. The Spear Breaker charging straight onto that Jakiro. As Pugna tries to catch up to help, but he's low as well, but the ult comes out. Ooh.
Top tower
they have to be careful here. The Ravage comes out, the Pugna goes down immediately, and the SB follows up with a death. They didn't have a lot of map vision in that fight, and they paid the price with a couple of heroes showing up that perhaps they didn't expect or preempt. And they end up going down. Still, however, we see quite this lead. Look at this CK, taking about a 1,400 gold lead above the next closest player. The Zeus and the Shadow Fiend still somewhat close in this. And here we see Dazzle fighting this Tidehunter underneath the tower. Pugna comes in to try and help finish off a kill, but they got to be very careful here. This might be an immediate death here. Fighting for his life. That heal is very good. Will he take down the Ogre Magi? He will indeed. Meanwhile, the SB charged back on that Tidehunter and brought him down. The Sven left to try and run. They might hunt him down here if they can. Indeed. And it looks like the Sven even will go down. Oh! And, oh my. Okay, he does go down in the end to the Pugna. It looks like they were trying to let that CK have the kill. But better to get the kill on the Pugna than to not get it at all. And here we see even this Jakiro might go down. Oh, surely not like this. No, he'll be spotted. And he stuns. No stuns. He escapes. Oh, somewhat of a blunder right there by Team Something. Somewhat indeed. Meanwhile, it looks like the Shadow Fiend and the Zeus have just sort of been battling out of mid. But the Shadow Fiend does find a double damage rune, and we might see one of the first towers of the game here being defeated. Of course, Team Something also took that top tower, and I have to say I think overall their warding is better than their opponents right now. They have quite a lot of map control deep in this jungle. They have their river well warded. We see the Spear Breaker charge onto the Zeus here. This would be a big kill for the Shadow Fiend to get, and he gets it easily on the Zeus. The Ogre Magi comes in to try and help, but overall not going to do much. And this Sven might go down here too to this Pugna CK combo. Another blast misses as Sven runs into the trees. Back in mid we have the Radiant side fighting for control. SB charges in and hits the Jakiro. Doesn't have a lot of backup though. The Jakiro ice misses. We see the CK fighting the Sven, and this Sven is no match for the CK right now. He is so farmed. The stun comes out, but it's just a matter of time, and there it is. CK now opening up a 2,000 gold lead on the next closest player, which is his teammate in that Shadow Fiend as well. Gold lead overall passing 2k now for Team Something, and XP lead looks like it's around the 3,500 mark perhaps for Team Something, as well as that bottom tower comes down. Still, it looks like they may lose this top tower here. They should be careful. No one there to defend it though, so it will go down to just a creep as a Dazzle chases off a Tidehunter, which is incredible. But the charge comes through. He might go down still. Will they be able to catch him? Will they have any way to control or stun him once this comes out? The Ogre is there to defend and should be enough to push them back. But Pugna looks like he wants in on this and drops another blast. Falls left. They have to be careful here. Most of this Radiant team is ready to fight there if they so chose. But they won't. And all of a sudden, this game is looking very much in the favor of Team Something, the dire side, as it looks like the Sven is just going to go down again. Will he? Will the Sven go down again? Trying to use the trees to block line of sight, but the CK is faster. And indeed, the Sven goes down to that CK, who just increases his influence in this game. As we see, Shadow Fiend, it looks like, has just completed his Shadow Blade. So that invisible Requiem of Souls now becomes much more of a threat, especially as he is about to hit level 12. And it will be even better. And we see them grouping up for somewhat of a mid-push here, it looks like. While their Spearbreaker is kind of in behind enemy lines, dropping wards. He sees this Jakiro, but the Jakiro sees him as well. So we have a fight begin and end very quickly between that Spearbreaker and the Jakiro, both deciding they want nothing to do with it. And the CK, it seems, is just free to farm this jungle. He really doesn't have to be scared of anybody on this other team here. And here we see Team Something coming in for a big team fight. There goes the Ravage off the Tidehunter, stopping and stunning everybody. The Ice. This is a really excellent team fight here by NK Mitick, as the area control really was good. This is what I was worried about in that pig ban phase. The Dazzle pops the Shallow Grave just to try and escape himself. But actually we see a lot of kills go the other way as well. That Requiem of Souls, plus the CK killing that chasing Zeus. Bandit killing off, fighting this Ogre here, but he shouldn't have to worry. Will it be a full team wipe? It doesn't look like it. The Ogre should be able to escape as a missed Shadow Raise. Difficult one, admittedly. And he should be careful here. So overall, a good fight. Their gold lead increases from about 4k to 6k after that fight. CK continues to farm up. And the Shadow Blade away from that Ogre Magi, he should be just fine to get away. They take the mid tower as well. So I believe they killed 4 heroes, lost 2, and took a tower. That is quite a good trade for Team Something. And we see the CK just continuing to farm at this point. The difference in team net worth is growing quite substantial. The XP mirroring that, and of course the win percentage showing a 68% win chance for Team Team Something.
Radiant's bottom tower
He's at the highest gold per minute now. Indeed, it is that CK at damn near 500 gold per minute, which is incredible. And that Zeus that was off to quite an early lead during the laning stage has fallen off substantially here. We see a fight go in as CK goes in on this Ogre Magi behind. Spearbreaker is fighting that Tidehunter. Tidehunter and the Ogre Magi both go down near simultaneously. 2 more easy kills, just unpositioned. Getting picked off one by one as this SB can charge around the map easily. This Jakiro will likely go down here as well. Indeed, very quickly. Tidehunter growing somewhat tilted, it would seem, and saying TY support, of course spelling support wrong. I would expect nothing less from the average Dota player, as they throw wards deep in this Radiant Secret Shop. That is going to make it a pain when the Radiant team comes here to try to jungler farm up. And CK is in fact stealing a lot of this farm as it is anyway, as he does break the 500 gold per minute mark. Let's look at the kill death assist. As we see, CK is 6-0, Shadow Fiend is 6-1, and Pugna is 5-2. That is quite good. All of their carries performing at really high levels, and the supports both with 10 assists as well, putting quite a lot of work in as their team has 20 kills. We see this SF and the CK have level 14, both of them, which is 2 higher than the Zeus and 4 higher than this Sven and this Tidehunter, and the level 7 Jakiro hurts as lagging behind that support. He really wants those extra levels if he can get them. He really will need them. We see this BKB coming up for the Shadow Fiend. Once that comes out, it will be very hard to kill him, especially on a team that mostly does magic damage except for the Sven. So if the CK can get on the Sven and kill him, I really don't see ways for NK Mitick to win these team fights. And we see them actually move out, and NK Mitick are we're farming their top this jungle. Now they have to come down to try and help the Sven, who gets charged. The Jakiro teleports in, should be able to delay this if he decides to indeed, but the Sven goes down. The ult comes out from the Jakiro, putting a lot of damage down on the Spear Breaker, but he should be able to get away. CK just does not care. He goes right in under this tower, kills the Ogre Magi. The Zeus ult comes out and actually kills the Dazzle and the Spear Breaker. Both the supports dead. They want to be careful to not get too overzealous here, but the Shadow Fiend comes in. The Pugna falls as well, though. Shadow Fiend looking for an engagement, but it doesn't look like he's going to find it with that Rec Room of Souls. He decides it's better to just fall back and live to fight another day with that CK. We see a bit of a curve here back towards the Radiant side, but favor still well within this Dire side. Win probability at 75% now for the Dire. And quite an interesting game thus far, as we see Chaos Knight here about to have the Manta style, which will be quite a swing, I think. All things considered. Meanwhile, this Zeus weighs off the Kaya still. The Sven weighs off the BKB. Frankly put, it's just this gold. Look at this gold advantage. The Shadow Fiend now has 2,500 gold lead on this Zeus. And the CK has a 3,000 gold lead on that Shadow Fiend itself, which is just incredible. Invisibility. If I look at levels here, you can see Jakiro actually caught up quite well in that fight in levels. And Tidehunter is DC'd from the game. Perhaps Tidehunter has had enough, and this team will be able to win if the Radiant side surrenders here. CK continuing to farm and to get bigger and scarier here, as it looks like they want to try and swing into this jungle and deny some farming if they can. SB on the lookout for a hero to charge. And oh, that's an awkward shadow raise just as the Jakiro started moving, but the charge is coming out from downtown. But that's a nice cancel on it, and an awkward miss on the liquid fire after that. But they smoke up here, looking for a smoke gank, it would seem. The Tidehunter is reconnected to the game, I just noticed, and they want a fight here. Both teams posturing around this Roche pit. Neither team wanting to give up that first Roche, though. If I have a quick look at hero level here, we see that this CK on level 16, nobody on level 15 yet for this Radiant side, so no second tier talents. That's something that they have gained team something here. And we see the fight come out from out of nowhere. The CK in deep, fighting for his life. Zeus ult has already been used. The Ravage comes out. The Jakiro is dead already by the time the Sven comes in. Spearbreaker charges, and CK just melts that Ogre Magi. The Sven tries to fight, but he cannot. This CK is just on a rampage. He is unstoppable at this point with a triple kill. And Tidehunter and Zeus just running for their lives. I'd expect Team Something here, no matter how newbie they are, know that they got to take some towers and press this advantage while they have it. Take Roche, take some towers, maybe D-Ward if they can. And they take the tier 2 mid, and they could even threaten Rax here if they want. With Sven out for 20 more seconds, they can clear waves very quick. And it looks like CK will push this top lane in a little bit. And Team Something happy with that one tower and that big win. They decided to just step back, farm up, wait for NK Mitick to make another mistake here. As the XP lead now about 10,000, the gold lead at about 12k, win probability 86% now for this Dire side. It is looking very, very bad. Net worth firmly in the lead for these top 2 carries. And nobody really even close. This Zeus, who is the top in net worth for his team, is barely ahead of this Pugna. And that could change very soon as this tower goes down and indeed the net worth lead swaps hands. And we see that this is 11-0, this CK. Really no one has been able to shut him down, where the Tidehunter, Sven, and Ogre have not been able to find much. We see a small confrontation happen in the bottom, but both sides just choose to back off. It looks like Team Something want to pressure this Rax if they can here. And indeed the CK decides to call to get back, so they will fall back off. Perhaps just going to farm up bounties, farm up some more gold, try and build up their lead even more. XP per minute, 537 for this CK, gold per minute. 535, that is incredible. That's very good. As the top 3 in gold per minute are actually on the side of Team Something. That's not good at all if you're looking to find a W or find a way to turn this game around. Even Dazzle just farming Ancients right now, and the Radiant side is powerless to stop it. This game feels like it's all but over. I thought the team fight of NK Mitick might be enough, but it's this individual prowess of these heroes that got farmed very quickly. The CK on level 18 now with that level 3 Phantasm. The Shadow Fiend very close behind that as well, and they're going to push this last tier 2 out right here. And then perhaps, if it's contested, back off and get Roche, but it will not even be contested. Team Radiant just hoping to play that high ground. And will they choose to pressure this as well? It looks like it. You know, they have to be careful. This Tidehunter out of base pushing this tier 1. Now would be an excellent time to try and pressure a fight. And the Ravage, which is interesting. I assume that was a misclick, but at this tier, really, who knows?
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
And indeed, now they choose to go for the Roche after they've choked out as much map control as they could. And no doubt this is going to go on the CK in my mind. Maybe drop that Stout Shield and put that on the CK. Fight for days. This Roche will go very quickly. No chance Team Radiant can contest it. They probably don't even know what's going on because they have no map vision, no map control. As Roche goes down, we'll have a look at this now. A 16k gold lead, 17k. Indeed, looks like about a 12k experience lead, and 88% win chance for the Dire side. This is indeed looking very dire for the Radiant side, you might say. As they look to just push their way down mid, and the Shadow Fiend took the Aegis of the Immortal, which is an interesting choice. He does surely do a lot of damage, but doesn't have the survivability, I would say, the mileage or efficiency, but I'm just a caster, not a pro. That's why I'm not playing in this high-level tournament. The BKB comes out for the Shadow Fiend, while the rest of the team actually decides to back off. He pops the Requiem of Souls. We're looking at a random Sphere Breaker in the jungle for some reason, because that's what Director Camera thinks is important, as he does nothing, and they take mid-tower and just back right off. And they actually smoke up, which is... I wonder what their plan is now. That they've... After... There's no way anybody's going to be out of their base. They're just going to group up and take shrines, I guess. So, 6 smoke gank really coming out there from Team Something. Really incredible. As the shrine goes down and Team Radiant loses even more of their map control. And Tidehunter really looks like he does not want to play this game anymore. Actually, I take it back. He's just contemplating some of his life choices, perhaps. And we see the Heart of Terras come out for this Chaos Knight, which, if he was unkillable before, I mean, look at him now. 4,300 HP, the armlet, the Manta style. This is one damn scary hero. He doesn't even have BKB yet. And the top shrine goes down now. That will choke out the last of this map control. They've only taken 2 towers this whole game, the tier 1 bottom and top. This has been a poor showing from NK Mitick here. Really getting outplayed. I'm not sure that call that they decided where they said they would tri-lane bottom and just have the CK alone with the Tidehunter top was a good call here. Because that CK, with the help of that Pugna occasionally, just got so much farm, got so far ahead. Really, they haven't been able to do much. They're just holding on to this at this point. I'm not really sure why this team has decided to not group up and try and force a fight with this Aegis. I couldn't tell you why they're doing that, but maybe it's just more important that they have the Aegis and they farm up the jungle, because you never know when those creeps in the jungle decide to all of a sudden go ham and kill you, and it's a good thing you had that Aegis. As you see Pugna here creep blocking in middle. Because obviously he wants that fight to be under his tower, I guess, as opposed to the creep pushing mid. But again, I'm no pro. See Dazzle hit level 15, take that plus 125 cast range. That makes this support even more dangerous in these team fights. The full Requiem of Souls ready for Shadow Fiend. He doesn't even have that +2 damage per soul or 150 shadow raise damage, so this is very dangerous. Of course, the CK took 150 gold per minute, just trying to farm up even more. They're really just ignoring the BKBs if they have any on this team, which I'd be surprised if they did, frankly. Who else? Tidehunter doesn't have one. Sven doesn't have one. No BKBs on this team, though Sven is trying to build one. Just can't get any gold. His net worth is down at 9k. That's a 10,000 gold lead from the highest Dire side to the highest Radiant side, which is just remarkable. I don't know why this side is deciding to just end it. But now that CK has that double damage, perhaps he will decide to just force the issue. This Aegis isn't going to last too much longer, but we'll see. We see the CK just easily walk in here, try to kill Sven. The Ravage comes out, that might be able to save him. They're going to try and focus the CK down, but even with all this crowd control, they still lose that Ogre Magi very quickly, and this is just a losing game. They cannot fight the CK in any way, shape, or form. He runs in, finds the Zeus, kills the Zeus. No buyback available for either of these heroes. They have no gold, and that should be an easy set of mid-racks. Looks like they want to come out and contest this, but I really don't see how they can at all. And CK just saying end in all chat, which is a little toxic. And the Dazzle finds the Sven kill there. The CK finds that Jakiro kill. Looks like they're going to find this last kill on this Tidehunter as well. And this looks like it should be GG. The Aegis runs out on the Shadow Fiend. Tidehunter calling GG as the tier 4s go down. GG's come out from both sides. All in all, a well-played game by Team Something here. Really showing what they can do, and camera's not even catching all this. So CK killed Sven again. Sven, oh jeez, and then CK just runs and kills everybody again. And that is GG, ladies and gentlemen. Team Something taking this game against NK mitick fairly easily, and even being toxic and throwing the walls in at the end. That is something victory. You'll have to see it. Something of a victory for sure.